What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Exotics Anonymous. I just got some very exciting news. Apparently the new Audi RS5 is supposed to come out tomorrow, February 12th. Now, all we really know for sure is that it's supposed to come out tomorrow the 12th, but I want to talk about some things I'm expecting to see in this car and kind of what would make sense for where that segment has gone since the last RS5 came out, and also what it's going to mean for some other models in the Audi lineup that might no longer be relevant depending on, how this new RS5 is launched. So first, let's just talk about what I'm expecting to see in this car. The outgoing RS5 made 444 horsepower from the twin-turbo 3-liter V6. No hybrid system, nothing like that. Since that car has come out, the newer BMW M3 has come out that makes 500 horsepower from a 6-cylinder of similar size. And then the Mercedes C63 tried to go 4-cylinder, fully hybrid. No one wanted it. They got rid of the V8. Nobody's bought them, but the car makes like 671 horsepower. So I think this new RS5, I would expect to see some hybridization in this car as well, like the Mercedes, but I think they're going to stick with the 6-cylinder engine. I don't think they're going to go to a 4 like Mercedes tried to do, because clearly it didn't work. And also, I just don't see Audi doing that yet. So with that being said, the power on the old one was about 440. The power on something like an M3 is 500 without a hybrid system. The power on that Mercedes was 671 with a hybrid and a 4-cylinder. So I think we probably could expect this RS5 to come out somewhere between an M3 and the C63. I don't think it'll be more powerful than C63, because if they give it 700 horsepower, it's knocking on the door of like an RS6 and 7. Although I'm expecting that to be updated soon too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm thinking probably somewhere in the mid 500s, mid to high 500 range for the horsepower, maybe low 600s if they're feeling generous. I think probably, 450 to 500 of that would be from the engine, and the rest will come from that hybrid system that I'm expecting to see in this car as well. So that's kind of the powertrain. Looks-wise, I'm expecting the exterior to look like a slightly more aggressive version of the S5 that they launched a couple months back. I think it'll probably make sense to look like that car, obviously just a little more aggressive, probably some more carbon fiber on the front of the car, which is okay, because that car is pretty good looking from the outside. It almost looks like, one of the bigger cars, like an A6 or an S6. I'm more interested to see what they do with the interior, because they launched this new interior, at the same time they launched the car, obviously. It's got a square steering wheel on the top and the bottom, which is very controversial, and most people don't seem to like it. They've had like touch buttons on the steering wheel now, which I think they're replacing based on a report I actually just saw as well. It says Audi's going back to all physical buttons on their steering wheel, no more haptics. So at least the wheel will be more usable, but it still doesn't look very good. And then the screens they did in these newer cars are just massive. And it's not like how Mercedes did the whole thing being screened back in, 2018, 2014 with the S-Class, where it was just like the perfect amount of a dual screen setup. The Audi one is huge, and it takes up like the whole dashboard. I almost feel like it's going to be hard to see over for some people. So I'm hoping that they maybe have revised the interior a little bit since they launched the S5, but I have a feeling this RS5 is going to continue most of that design language, maybe with a few small upgrades to like the steering wheel or a couple extra buttons somewhere, but I don't think it's going to be able to fix the interior, overall. So I'm expecting a interior. The outside will be good. I think the outside will look like just a more aggressive S5, which is great. It's a good looking car, so I'm not looking for anything completely different on the outside. And the performance though is going to be the big jump, because going from 444 horsepower in the last generation to probably over 550, maybe 600 horsepower in this one, that's a huge jump between generations. I mean, that's like, that amount of horsepower is typically the delta between like a S model and an RS model, and sometimes not even that much. So that's a huge jump. The power levels I'm stating are pretty much speculation. I'm just going off based what I would think they would do here. But I'd be surprised if it's not at least more horsepower than an M3, which is 503. So it'll be more than that, I would say, almost certainly. And I guess we'll know tomorrow for sure. But I'm excited to see what they do regardless. It does make me wonder if certain models in their lineup that sit above the RS5 are going to be no longer relevant. Specifically myself, I have an Audi S6. I love it. But at the time that I got my S6, the S6 had a twin-turbo V8, and the RS5 was just the V6 with no powertrain or anything like that, or with no hybrid powertrain or anything like that. So there was like a clear differentiation between the models. But now the most recent S6 has also become the same twin-turbo 6-cylinder from the RS5. They put that into the S6 now. So the engines are the same, and yeah, the S6 is a little bigger and more luxurious still, but you kind of feel like the S6 took a step back, and the RS5 and that are almost on the same level. And I wonder if this new RS5 comes out and it does have, 550, 600 horsepower, what are you going to go buy an S6 for? Because this RS5 is going to be more powerful. The cars are a lot bigger now, so they're not that different in size. For a lot of people, I could see them just saying, why bother with an S6? Now, Audi could save this if they put that V8 from like an SQ8 back into an S6 and put the car right back on the map as like a good alternative if you don't want to spend 160 grand on an RS7 and you don't want a A6 the S6 at like 100 grand right in the middle with that V8 would be perfect. So Audi, do that. So not only does Audi have to compete with, BMW and Mercedes when they launch this car, to compete with the M3 and the C63, but they're kind of competing with themselves in a way, because some of their models are starting to overlap in a way that they never really would have in the past before hybrid and electric power got introduced, because power used to be how big's your engine, how much boost you run through the turbos. Now it's how big's your engine, how much power is the engine making, but also how much power you're getting out of the battery to supplement that difference that you're looking to get. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Audi. I've got my Audi hoodie on. I've got an Audi S6, so I want to see them do well. But I'm doubtful on the interior. I have not liked what I've been seeing from the interiors of Audi recently, so I hope they do something to correct that. But I feel like we won't see any interior corrections until the new RS6 and RS7 launch, which I'm expecting that in a couple months as well. I don't think we're too far off from that. They keep delaying these. This RS5 was supposed to come out back in November, was the original word, and they pushed it to February. So I don't know why. I don't know if that was emissions related, if the car wasn't done. I'm not really too sure. But at least we're finally getting to that point where the car is coming out. And I'm excited to see what they finally do. If they make a true competitor in terms of the performance with something like an M3. I have a feeling this will be a lot faster than the current M3, but I'm sure BMW is working on their next generation as well. But Audi's always kind of been maybe slightly behind in performance, but ahead in like the tech and luxury factor, blending it all together in the way that BMW and Mercedes. I feel like BMW typically just goes all performance and don't care too much about the luxury and a little bit of the tech. Mercedes is usually heavier on the luxury and the tech and maybe like the sound when they used to have the great V8 engines in all the cars. And Audi, I always felt kind of blended them all together, kind of the best in a way. Hence why I have an Audi S6 and not like a BMW 550i or something like that. But as power gets so crazy with all these hybrid systems and electric systems and everything, it's going to be interesting to see who can maintain that driving emotion with all these new systems being implemented. So that's what I'm expecting to see out of this new Audi RS5 tomorrow. I'm excited, and I think it's a great next step for the brand to be launching a new car, because I feel like Audi's been quiet for a little while, at least on the performance end of the cars. I know they did like the new Q5 and the new A5, the new A6, and they did do the new S5, but it was kind of like, it's the S5, not the RS5. So I'm glad they're launching something new, keep their name on the map. Like Mercedes has been ghost quiet ever since that C63 came out and nobody wanted it. So I'm sure they're working on something too, but I'm just glad we got another new car coming out and advancing things and seeing where the future of these sports cars is going. So if anything major is different than what I talk about in this video, I'll try to get something out right away to update you. But I'd be pretty surprised if this stuff's not, in the ballpark of what's going to come out. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video as well talking about, all the final numbers and everything that came out on the car. But if you guys enjoyed this video, this car news type of thing, instead of, being in my own car or outside or talking about another car, like the video for me. Subscribe if you like to see more videos like this, and thanks for watching Exotics Anonymous. Hope you like my little sign I put in the background, and I will see you in the next video.